Good afternoon and welcome to this edition of KTN Newsdesk. This cold afternoon, it's the 20th of March 2013. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Betty Callow.
Well, indeed, it is news as it happens here at the Newsdesk. And of course, we have details of some good news and some sad news, including a windstorm in Kisumu.
Indeed, that's all coming up on Newsdesk. Well, indeed, this afternoon we'll be giving you details of the latest for the court petition, and we'll also be giving you details of what exactly the IEBC has said in response to this petition.
Welcome to the program. And the Supreme Court has ordered all parties in the 3 presidential election petitions not to discuss the merits of the petitions in public until the matter is concluded inside the court. Well,
indeed, at the mention of the petitions held this morning in the presence of all the 6 judges and the parties to the petitions, Chief Justice Willie Mutunga gave directions to be followed in the cases where the declaration of Uhuru Kenyatta as president has been challenged.
KTN's Noah Otieno now brings us the full details of that proceeding.
The 3 petitions were mentioned today before all the 6 judges led by the Chief Justice Dr. Willie Mutunga. The first petition is that by the supporters of Jubilee, Moses Kuria, Dennis Itumbi and Florence Sergon, challenging the IEBC and Chairman Isaac Hassan's decision to include rejected votes in the just concluded presidential election to calculate the percentages in the tally of the presidential results. The second petition is that by the civil society under the umbrella of the African Center for Open Governance, AFRICOG, challenging the way the IEBC conducted the election, the failure of the IEBC equipment, and the tallying of the final presidential election results. The most debated petition is the third one by Raila Odinga of the CORD coalition, challenging the declaration of Uhuru Kenyatta and his deputy William Ruto as winners in the presidential election. They argue that the election was not free or fair and was not conducted as required by law. The Chief Justice gave directions to all parties and the general public ahead of the pre-trial conference set for Monday.
The court is ready and prepared to hear and determine the petitions on the basis of the Constitution, the applicable law, and the evidence. In the interests of justice and for the efficient, effective, transparent, and impartial determination of the petitions, the court issues the following directions. The court is now fully seized of the petitions challenging the presidential elections. Towards this end, the petitioners and the respondents, their agents, supporters, and advisors are directed to desist from prosecuting the merits of their cases in any forum other than this court. 2. It is the responsibility of the advocates on record to advise their clients in these cases about the consequences of conduct or statements that can undermine the authority of this court.
The CORD team have also filed another petition seeking to have the Supreme Court compel the IEBC to release all the SIM cards and digital records of the mobile phones and the electronic voter identification devices used in the election to their lawyers. This petition is set to be heard any minute now before a single judge at the Supreme Court. It was quite a relaxed atmosphere here at courtroom number 4 at the Supreme Court building here in Nairobi today during the mention of the 3 petitions involving the presidential election where Uhuru Kenyatta was declared as the winner. Although all the Supreme Court judges were here today, remember the bench that will hear all the 3 petitions has not yet been constituted. It could be all the 6 Supreme Court judges, it could be just the 5 minimum required by the Constitution, but that will be revealed at the pre-trial conference on Monday the 25th of March when all the parties meet here again ahead of the beginning of the hearings proper in this presidential election petition. My name is Noah Otieno at the Supreme Court in Nairobi.
Thank you very much, Noah. Let's keep with that story. Now, the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission on Tuesday filed a response to the election petition by Raila Odinga at the Supreme Court. Now, let us now take a look at the response given by IEBC regarding that petition. Now, the Commission insisted the March 4th presidential poll was free and fair, and that the outcome of the race represented the will of the people. Now, Isaac Hassan further stated that the high voter turnout and peaceful nature of the elections indicated that the poll was of the highest integrity. Well, in the response, IEBC further said that the petitioner, who in this case is Raila Odinga, fully participated in the electoral process, and at no time did he raise a red flag on the process. Now, IEBC also holds that in no way were the rights of the petitioner violated in regards to the Constitution. IEBC also said that the petitioner was taking a narrow, private, cleverly disguised as public rights, something that the Commission asked the court to counterbalance against Kenyans' rights to choose their leader of their choice. Now, the response further states that the petitioner has never conceded defeat and accepted the will of the people. Well, it cited 1997, 2007, and now 2013 as proof of the petitioner never conceding defeat. That indeed is IEBC's response on the court petition, whose hearing is slated to start this coming Monday with a pre-trial conference. I take you to Tunya.
Right now, the Supreme Court kicked off the historic election petition challenging the March 4th presidential poll. Prime Minister Raila Odinga this morning convened a strategic meeting with all the CORD senators-elect at a Nairobi hotel. The closed-door meeting, chaired by the PM and the Vice President Kalonzo Musyoka, was reported to have discussed, among other issues, the court case where the Coalition for Reforms and Democracy, CORD, is challenging IEBC's declaration of Uhuru Kenyatta as the President-elect of the Republic of Kenya. Now, ODM's National Elections Board Chairman Franklin Bett addressed the press after the meeting, with Raila and Kalonzo tactfully shunning the press briefing.
We got 20 senators, and all of them were here this morning to meet with the principals to discuss issues of development as we pledged in our manifesto. We are a coalition that wants to deliver what we pledged in our manifesto. So they came today to discuss way forward on the implementation of our manifesto. 2, they also came to discuss the way forward after the petition. And those were the main issues we discussed, knowing very well that there is that petition. They were also sent back home to stress on peace, to stress on prosperity, to stress on development, to stress on calmness, so that members of the public are fully aware that the matter before court is in good hands.
Right, and from CORD in Nairobi, we go to Mombasa, where President-elect Uhuru Kenyatta had a tour of the area and recently visited the Titanium base station in that part of the country. Senior reporter Ferdinand Omondi from the coast brings us the very latest on joining us live now.
Thank you, Bonnie. Good afternoon. As you mentioned, Uhuru Kenyatta, the president-elect, indeed, is in Mombasa on an extensive tour of the coast region. Arrived here on Saturday. He started with a holiday with his family at an exclusive joint. Yesterday, he was at the port of Mombasa, where he reiterated that the Jubilee government is against the privatization of the port. Today, he headed over to Kwale County, specifically 50 kilometers south of Mombasa, where we are, for a visit of some of the projects there. Our reporter, John Juma, is on his trail. I spoke to him 10 minutes ago, and he told me that he is here to trace the president, who was supposed to visit the Kwale Sun Mines project there. as well as the sugarcane manufacturing plant that is down there. But from my understanding is that he is here to settle down, so we'll be following that. But briefly, we're just expecting him to be on a reassurance tour with the people here. You remember that this is an area that voted quite a bit or immensely for the Code Coalition, but the fact that when he touched down in Diani, his first statement was to the people that they are together, that he's going to serve them equally, and to give these reassurances that should he be confirmed as president, that is exactly what he'll be working with, to bring all the people of Kenya together. Now in Kwale, we have the project that is now under the Base Resources Base National, which is an Australian firm, took over from Tiomin way back in 2010. It has been an on and off project in Kwale. Tiomin, remember, took the license way back in 1999 to start looking for minerals there, but it didn't go quite well with them, and they had to give up about 70% of their stake about 3 years ago when they failed to raise funds. Now Base Resources says that it has now acquired funds, an initial 14.9 billion shillings to start mining in the course of this year, and there will be 3 minerals of the titanium project that they will be getting out. That's ilmenite, rutile and zircon. Now these very important minerals, the most important mostly being ilmenite, which is mostly used a light metal but very strong, used in making aircraft body parts as well as artificial body parts, and as well as sporting equipment like bicycle joints. Rutile, on the other hand, is used for coating welding rods, as well as the ore of titanium, and of course zircon used in the opacification of metal, and as well as gemstone. And it will be coming out in extremely large quantities, Bonnie, because I understand that rutile will produce at 14% of the world supply, that is 80,000 tons per year. Ilmenite itself will be 10% of the world supply, and that is 330,000 tons. And then we have zircon, which will produce at 40,000 tons per year. So if this does go underway, not only will the economy of Kwale County soar, as the governor-elect Juma Boy has also been mentioning, but also the prospects for job creation for the people will be there. And in as much as a lot of the controversy has been set aside, so this is something that the people of Kwale County are really looking forward to, and this is something that also the President-elect Uhuru Kenyatta, if confirmed, should be able to reassure the people that a lot of these benefits will also remain with the people of Kwale. Bonnie.
Right, Fadi, and of course the agenda was to reassure his voters, but looking at the economic potential of Mombasa, are there any promises coming from Uhuru Kenyatta at this point?
Well, a lot of the reassurances, he has been speaking very heavily or in detail about what he plans, but from the tone of his talks, just been trying to assure the people of the coast region that a lot of the resources here shall go back to the people. The people, of course, have been very strongly against any privatization of the port of Mombasa, and when he visited the port yesterday with the Vice President William Ruto-elect, and also the area Jubilee appointment here, Najib Balala and Chirao Mwakwere, they said that they were against privatization of the port. So that will resonate very well with the people here. In Kwale, of course, there have been complaints that a lot of the projects that go down there normally go to the central government without benefiting the people here. So again, we expect him to give reassurances that the government will back the projects there, and any profit that come down shall also go back to the people. A lot of the people also will have to be resettled so that the mining will continue, and we also do expect from that fact is that they also reassure the people that the Jubilee government, should it be confirmed, also make sure that people are compensated duly in terms of that. The Kwale International Sugar Factory also there, formerly known as Ramisi, something that is also beginning to go down well, and probably we expect him to also give another reassurance that the government provide the necessary funding to make sure that it does not end up being another white elephant. And that and much more we would be expecting if he tours other areas of the coast as well, to make sure that the resources in these people when we get to a decentralized system of government will go back to the people, as the people here have been expecting for many years. Bonnie.
Right, many thanks Ferdinand Omondi for speaking to us at the news desk, of course, giving us a brief of what is happening with President-elect Uhuru Kenyatta, having a tour of the coastal region and reassuring the people at Mombasa of his support in regards to ensuring that Mombasa is revamped as a financial hub in this particular country. And of course, we'll be linking up with our reporters at the coast for this news as and when it unfolds. Let's now go over to Betty. I understand there's some more warning about hate speech.
Indeed, the National Cohesion and Integration Commission wants President-elect Uhuru Kenyatta and his political rival Raila Odinga to tone down their political rhetoric as the country awaits the outcome of the presidential election petition. NCIC Chairman Zalendo Kibunja urged the leaders to promote peace during this period as the national wounds were yet to heal. Meanwhile, the Commission has launched investigations on 4 individuals believed to have used social networks to spread hate messages after the March 4th general election.
Let's now move on to other matters. Now, 50 families in Seme constituency, Kisumu County, have been rendered homeless after the torrential rain and windstorms wreaked havoc in the area, completely destroying 2 churches and 8 houses. Now, the families are trying to salvage belongings from the derelict building as they await a team from the Kenya Red Cross who are expected to visit the area this afternoon. They organize relief efforts and move to the affected communal shelter. Also affected by the storm was a health center that also lost all of its roof but survived the onslaught. Now from Kisumu, let's go to Maragua, where the farmers in Maragua constituency and Maragua County rather have benefited from 4.5 tons of assorted seeds as planting season sets in. Now the maize, cowpeas, green grams, dolichos and bean seeds were donated by the Ministry of Agriculture under a program known as Traditional High Valued Crops Initiative. The area agricultural officer John Kamau says the region is recognized by the ministry as an area with high productivity and says the program has been tremendous progress since its inception. The officer said that already 80% of the farmers targeted have already received the seeds. And still trotting around the country from Maragua, let's go to Naivasha, where Naivasha continues to be ranked as the leading area with high cases of rickets and stunted growth due to the high levels of fluoride in the water. Naivasha's public officer says that the district has been recording at least 11 new cases of rickets every month. A survey conducted in the area also shows a rise in the case of stunted growth. Senior health officials also reported that an inspection on boreholes revealed that all the boreholes in the area do not meet the World Health Organization standards and the guidelines on fluoride levels. Now, the water sanitation for the urban has in turn linked up with the Coca-Cola Foundation to set up a 42 million shilling water project in the area.
Well, still in our counties, Narok residents held a demonstration over a dispute of Ole Shepani and Mao Narok land. The demonstrators marched through Narok town to the Narok North District Commissioner's office, demanding that the government desist from resettling internally displaced persons on the 2,400-acre piece of land before the dispute is resolved. The demonstrators insist that the land belongs to the community and therefore should be reverted back to Narok residents. A section also claimed that if the government goes ahead with the resettlement plan, it would further marginalize members of the Maasai community.
Time to look at what is happening in the world of business. We'll start with how your money is working for you. At the Nairobi Securities Exchange, let's now take a look at the biggest gainers of the day. NCIC Insurance is up 6.67%, going at 5 shillings and 60 cents. CFC Insurance Holdings moving up 5.78% at 9 shillings and 15 cents. Centum Investments, CFC Stanbic and Housing Finance, not much movement. We're talking about in the region of 4 percentage points to up to 3 percentage points. Let's now take a look at the biggest drops of this trading day. Kakuzi is down 8.43%. You can get the stock at 81 shillings and 50 cents. As Olympia Capital Holdings is down marginally at 3.75%, going at 3 shillings and 85 cents. Now, Total Kenya and Uchumi supermarkets having moved down marginally, nothing much to write home about, but NIC Bank closes the losers for us down 1.52% with a price of 48 shillings and 50 cents. Other important indices coming from the NSE this afternoon is that the all-share index sits firmly in the region of 113.20 with the 20-share index, which is really an indicator of how the market is doing at 4,700. Edging towards the 4,800 and 5,000 mark, which analysts say may stop at that particular point by the end of the mark, but really it is showing there is still a lot of confidence in the Kenyan market. The FTSE 15 and 25 indices at 147 and 150 respectively, no much movement. However, the latest entrant into the NSE indices, that is the FTSE NSE Kenya Government Bond Index, that is now valued at 90.78. Market capitalization stands at 1,535 with the total shares traded this afternoon with just about an hour and a half to go before the market closes, doing 33,490, 900 with equity turnover at 741,053. And of course, remember, these figures that I'm reading to you right now are scrolling at the bottom of your screen, so you can be keeping tabs as and when and what happens in that particular market. But let's now take a look at what is happening elsewhere in the African markets on factors to watch in the African market. And as always, we like to start here at home in Nairobi, where the Kenyan shilling firmed slightly on Tuesday, lifted by inflows on dollars from the country's weekly tea auction. Now, while shares fell for a fifth straight session, but only slightly. Meanwhile, the Central Bank of Kenya auctioned 182-day and 364-day treasury bills, and new 2-year and a reopened 10-year fixed coupon treasury bond meant to raise up to 20 billion shillings is on. Elsewhere in the Kenyan markets, the Kenya tourism revenue fell 2% to 96 billion shillings. It's about 1.12 billion US dollars if you do the calculation. And this was hurt by a fall in the number of European holiday makers after a string of security warnings. Now, the Business Daily newspaper in Nairobi has confirmed this report. Elsewhere, South Africa's benchmark shares index fell for the third straight day on Tuesday, weighed down by mining companies as worries about the Eurozone debt crisis dented metal prices. Now, the rand weakened towards the 4-year low against the dollar on Tuesday, with investors fretting about the mining strikes that could affect electricity supply and economic growth in Africa's largest economy, that is South Africa. Elsewhere, Uganda's shilling firmed slightly against the dollar on Tuesday as hard currency inflows from commodity exporters outweighed soft dollar demands from importers. Elsewhere in Zimbabwe, according to a Reuters report, have approved a constitution that curbs presidential powers after 33 years of Robert Mugabe's rule and puts the Southern African state a step closer to a vote. Now, the Election Commission has confirmed this Tuesday. Let's go to West Africa now, and Nigeria's central bank kept rates on hold at just about 12% for a 9th time in a row, citing concerns over ongoing external price pressures despite the headline inflation rate being within the bank's target band. Further afield, Asian shares and the euro struggled on Wednesday after a bailout plan for Cyprus fell into disarray, but losses were limited on investors' hopes that last-minute deal was still within reach. Finally, Brent crude rose towards the $108 barrel on Wednesday, recovering from a 3-month low hit in the previous session. Although uncertainty in the Eurozone after Cyprus rejected bailout that kept a lead on the prices in that particular market. And of course, those are factors to watch in this particular market, the African market. Now you know where your money is and where it needs to go. Let's come back home to what is happening locally in Kenya, and the average price of Kenya's top grade tea fell to $4 per kilogram at auction this week, from $4.22 at the last sale, weighed down by sluggish demand for crop. Market participant had confirmed this particular report as at Wednesday. Now, Kenya is currently the leading exporter of black tea, which is a major source of foreign exchange, earning about 112 billion shillings every year. Now, according to the Africa Trade Tea Board, 141,000 packages of tea were offered for sale at the auction, nearly 23% going unsold, as some 146,151 packages of tea were offered at a previous sale, with 21% remaining unsold. Now, the weekly auction at the port city of Mombasa usually features tea from other regions, including Burundi. Now, elsewhere, in a recent survey conducted by the Association of Chartered Certified Accountants, if you like ACCA, and the Institute of Management Accountant revealed that finance leaders are not keeping up with the data trends as dictated by market needs. However, as KTN's Joy Doreen Bira now reports, the current financial leadership role requires that finance leaders adapt to the changing data trends while ensuring efficiency in businesses they head.
Financial planning, analysis skills, communication and influencing skills are identified as the highest priority for finance leaders to extend their reputation and role of the finance function in supporting any business. But a latest joint report by ACCA and Institute of Management Accountants reveals that finance leaders' traditional finance skills as well as conservative skills in tax and treasury were deemed to be of relatively less importance, posing a great challenge to efficiency as finance leaders are less willing to adapt to financial technology trends. This trend has affected the efficiency of finance leaders partly because of poor finance IT infrastructure, where many finance organizations are spending more time manually reworking systems through both traditional analysis rather than on providing insight into the efficiency that comes alongside automated systems. The report recommends that investing in better finance IT systems and to understand their businesses and environment to help increase value, particularly as the markets in which organizations operate continue to evolve. Joy Doreen Bira, KTN Newsdesk.
Great, and that's all the business news you need to know on this Thursday afternoon, 20th of March 2013. Take you to Betty now for sports.
Tonya, it's actually Wednesday. I think you need a cup of coffee this cold afternoon. Let's now take a look at sports. A national soccer team, Harambee Stars, jetted out of the country this morning, confident of shocking the West African nation for the first time since 1985. Now, the team led by coach Adel Amrushe boarded a chartered plane to Lagos. Goalkeeper Arnold Origi and midfielder Christian Bwami will link up with the team in Lagos later in the afternoon, apart from Obafemi Martins and Victor Moses, who had connecting flights to Calabar. All invited players are in camp ready for the Stars match on Saturday. All their 14 foreign-based players made it to the Super Eagles camp on Tuesday afternoon. Stars will again be counting on Dennis Oliet's pace in the match, but the biggest scare for the Kenyan boys will be the away environment, as Nigerians will be out to see their team performing for the first time since winning the African Cup of Nations early this year. If Kenya wins, then it will be the first time Harambee Stars wins a match against the Super Eagles since 1985. All the best to our boys. Still in sports, the national world cross country team is set to depart tonight for Poland ahead of the 41st World Cross Country Championships in the city of Bydgoszcz. Kenya will be seeking to win back the senior men's title last won by Joseph Ebuya, beside the Punta Umbria result in 2011, where Kenya won 3 individual gold medals. And the overall title, the current crop, has the pedigree to lift the raise the bar higher. However, Vivian Cheriot will not be in Poland to defend her title. Kenya has won 26 overall title out of the 38 times she has taken part at the World Cross Country Championships.
We have to end it there on the news desk. My name is Bonitunya. It has been a lot of fun bringing you news as it happens.
Thank you so much for watching. I'm Betty Kialo. Have a lovely warm afternoon.